Men are trash. All men are the same. I hate men. Ever heard that before? That must have come from feminists, right? Wrong. At least not according to the actual literal definition of feminism. However, culture transformed feminism and made it stand for the things it originally opposes. In this video, we will look into the history of feminism and where we stand right now, which will hopefully elucidate common misconceptions regarding feminism, and that includes how many waves there are. The roots of feminism are in ancient Greece. The eminent philosopher Plato made it clear in his book Republic that he believes women have natural capacities equal to men for being in charge of governing ancient Greece. However, not many governors agreed to that. Fast forward to the 19th century, when the first wave began with the signing of the Declaration of Sentiments at the Seneca Falls Convention, the first ever women's rights convention. Its goal was to promote women's social, civil, and religious rights. On the first day, only women were allowed to attend, and on the second day, men could as well. Fun fact, the convention was created when two of its organizers, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott, were denied seating at the 1840 World Anti-Slavery Convention in London. Anti-slavery movement and feminism movement were interlaced. The right to vote was demanded and strongly supported by Frederick Douglass, American abolitionist and social reformer who asserted that he couldn't accept his right to vote as a black man if women couldn't do that as well. By 1920, and thanks to the wonderful role women played during World War I as well as the incredible work of suffragists, the 19th Amendment has been passed and American women are finally able to vote.
50 years ago last year, women got to vote, I hear.
Following the Great Depression, women entered the workplace by taking low-paying jobs related to teaching or housework. During World War II, women proved being able to take on jobs originally performed by men. During these times, a feminist icon called Rose the Riveter was born. This leads us to the second wave feminism, when World War II was over and women were fired from their jobs and returned to their roles as housewives and mothers. But what also gave rise to the second wave was the release of the groundbreaking book of Betty Friedan called The Feminine Mystique, that depicted the unsettling unhappiness women felt. In the book, she criticizes the industry for reducing women to their relations to men or their expertise in menial tasks only. Eventually, women were more and more involved in protests and organizations that advocate for women's rights, such as the Equal Pay Act of 1963. Betty Friedan later became the president of the National Organization for Women and worked on ensuring more work opportunities for women, but she resigned when there was a great opposition claiming that African American women were being heavily discriminated and were more in need of work than middle-class white women. More and more significant reforms were done, such as the Women's Educational Equity Act of 1972, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974, and the Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978. However, the Equal Rights Amendment failed to become a law because it wasn't ratified by enough states. Even if women of color felt underrepresented by the movement, we cannot deny that it was pretty successful and saw a coming of age of solidarity between all women seeking equality and justice. Between the 1990s and the early 2000s, the term feminism became confusing. Before, the feminism movement represented solidarity between all women fighting for equal rights. But during these times, it was rather a challenge to join all so-called feminists into one category, as their motives and demands differed on a multitude of levels. On top of that, the third wave feminism was highly criticized for not advocating for the rights of minorities such as immigrants or women of color. Despite all of that, women achieved something significant after all the years of relentless hard work. By 1993, 5 women had joined the US Senate, and 1999 was often called the Year of the Woman. Not only that, but third wave feminism focused more on reproductive rights, highlighting the importance of giving women the right for birth control and abortion. Plus, it was highly influential on teens, and that is through the creation of girl bands that empower women through music. Not to mention that at this stage, many feminist characters were born to shine. where are we right now? Where do we stand? Well, let's say we are in the middle of a gender discrimination pandemic. This is kind of true though, because that sort of thing is still rampant and we still have a long way before we stifle it. Women earn less than men, and this is a fact and not a fallacy used to gain empathy. As of 2018, a woman on average earned 81.6 cents for every dollar a man earns. New Zealand, who by the way did a laudable job for containing the coronavirus, successfully passed the Equal Pay Amendment bill that allows citizens working in female-dominated professions to have a clearer pathway for pay equity. Regarding the right to abortion, this has fueled a heated debate between pro-choice and pro-life. The former stands for the slogan "My body, my choice," and the latter claims that lives must be protected at all costs. Moreover, what is allowed for men is not allowed for women. Gender bias is deeply embedded in society. After giving a powerful speech on child pornography, Blake Lively shuts down a reporter who asked her about what she was wearing. She immediately backfired, asking him if he'd asked the same question to a man. Otherwise, we are in the Me Too movement that stands against sexual assault or harassment, which sparks more fear right now because of the lockdown measures imposed by the coronavirus pandemic. Apart from that, women are finally beginning to speak up against their rapists or their assaulters, even if these people are prominent figures, like Harvey Weinstein. The New York Times disclosed a scandal linking Harvey Weinstein to allegations of sexual harassment, as many women came forward to explain. Additionally, Jeffrey Epstein, an American financier and convicted sex offender, committed suicide while in jail, but many other stories of his crimes are still not explored. In the meantime, a 4-episode docuseries have been airing on Netflix to depict how Jeffrey makes use of his power and his wealth to remain protected against any allegation. I must also add how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, American politician, spoke up against a sexist man who insulted her while entering the Congress.
Having a daughter does not make a man decent. Having a wife does not make a decent man. Treating people with dignity and respect makes a decent man.
So we just saw the worst examples of men, but that doesn't serve as enough evidence to generalize and consider that all men are the problem. In fact, many of them are feminists. Feminists as in supporting equal rights and equal responsibilities. Let's not let other people distort this definition. Let's do anything in our power to protect our women against all sorts of inequalities. If you're a sexual assault victim, please seek help, reach out, and make sure you know that you are worth helping and worth listening to. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, leave a comment, and turn on the notifications for future content.